G'day guys, I'm Matt Brand, and this, it's the Golf GTI TCR. The Golf GTI TCR is the final limited edition of the Mark 7 7.5 Golf. And honestly, it just looks stunning, truly beautiful. So what's so special about the Golf GTI TCR? Well, there are only 300 coming to Australia. It has an engine derived from the Golf R. It has a 6-speed dual clutch transmission instead of the usual 7-speed, apparently for racetrack use. And it has a lowered ride height by about 5 millimeters to make it lower to the ground. The center of gravity is lower and handle better. Oh, and it is the most powerful Golf GTI ever made, and it has a claimed 0 to 100 kilometers an hour of around about 5.7 seconds. Oh my God. So yes, this thing is bonkers. Now, if you are new around here, I would love it if you went down there and hit the subscribe button and that notification bell. I release an awesome new car review like this every single week. And while you're down there, please do hit the like button. It truly helps small content creators like me. The YouTube algorithm hates me. I'll get back at you, YouTube algorithm. I'll get back at you. I've also left timestamps down in the description below, or click on the YouTube chapters if you want to skip ahead. But anyway, let's get straight into the review. First of all, can we please admire the pure grey exclusive paint job on this Golf GTI TCR. If you get one of these, you have to get it in this color. Starting at the front, and new for the Golf GTI TCR is a tiny little front splitter up the front, but it really does help to break up the front because it's blacked out and just contrasts so well with the paint. On each side of the bumper, you have a very large duct to streamline air across the side of your Golf GTI. But they are absolutely massive, again blacked out. The headlights though are my favorite part of the front. I love the way they look. The daytime running lights are so cool. The way that the turning signals are integrated with those daytime running lights, also so cool. Of course, the lights are very functional. They're very, very bright. And the way that that red bar runs from within the headlights into the grille, which is simple in itself and has that Golf GTI badge, is awesome. It's amazing to me that even though we're 7 years into the Mark 7 Golf, it can still look this good and just as modern as all of its competitors. Truly, truly impressive. The front looks cool, but the side looks probably cooler. My favorite part of the side are the 19-inch Reifnitz wheels, which are exclusive to this Golf GTI and hands down the best looking wheels on any hot hatch. The fact that they are this beautiful matte black and their design is just so interesting, simple, elegant, sporty, every word out there. I love them to bits. Of course, you also get the glaringly obvious honeycomb TCR decals on the side. I don't know how I feel about them. They've grown on me, although I will say I would be concerned going into the future that they'll peel off. They are individually stuck onto the side. They really do just feel like a sticker. Oh! This thing is nuts. Of course, being the TCR, you get even more limited edition stuff. For example, the wing mirrors are blacked out. You have a blacked out roof, and then coolest for me is when you open the door, you have TCR specific puddle lights. I love that. It is so cool. Such a premium touch. The rear to me is also just insane. Again, this car is 7 years into its generation. Yes, it had a facelift, but still. Up top, you get an exclusive little lip spoiler on top of the roof spoiler. So kind of got a double spoiler thing going on up there. The tail lights are absolutely awesome. They look great, especially at nighttime. And they do have the sequential turning signal indicator, which is a very cool look. Of course, the VW badge is there, and it does hide the reverse camera. And then look down the bottom at the giant rear diffuser. It is exclusive to the TCR, and for me, it just makes the back look incredible. Of course, the TCR has dual real exhaust tips, and the TCR does get a free-flowing exhaust, and they sound awesome. Take a listen. I love the way that the Golf GTI TCR looks. It is incredible. In my opinion, it is the best looking Golf ever to be made. The blacked out exclusive mixed with this pure gray paint is just, oh my God, it has such a presence on the road. And I can't tell you how many people have been staring at this car. Truly, truly magnificent. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. What do you think looks better, this Golf GTI TCR, or do you prefer the Renault Megane RS that I recently reviewed? I think they're both beautiful cars, but if it were me, I might take this. I've left a voting poll in the comment section below, so go down there and cast your votes now. Excuse me here while I give it a bit of sauce. Oh my God, this thing is nuts, nuts, nuts. Okay, now I want to move on to the interior, and I want to start with the overall look, layout, and feel. Even though this Golf shares very much of the same with the generation that came out first in 2013, it still is a fantastic place to be. Everything feels well put together, intentionally placed, and there are soft, squidgy materials everywhere. You've also got some cool touches. For example, you got this like metal looking finish on the doors and in the dash. You also get red highlights absolutely everywhere because this is a Golf GTI, of course. And then there is just great attention to detail. For example, the glove box and the door bins are both lined with a really nice felt material. It stops things from sliding around, and it just adds an air of premiumness, that's a word, to the interior. Exclusive for the TCR are these sport cloth and microfiber seats. You get Alcantara inserts in the doors and on the gear selector. You get a dead ahead on your steering wheel, so you know where 12 o'clock is at all times. There's also seat belts and floor mats. You just get some nice touches around the interior. In terms of ergonomics and practicality, oh man, this thing is so fast. The steering wheel is tilting and telescoping to a large degree, and the seats are adjusting, though disappointingly completely manually. In terms of storage though, you do get plenty of storage spaces. You have two cup holders, of course, in the center. You got bigger ones in the doors, and the door bins are just massive. The glove box is also a really good size. In the center console next to the cup holders, you have a little area to put something. And then of course you have a big storage area for your phone, though sadly there isn't any wireless charging, and that's where it's starting to show its age. The glove box is also a great size, and it is ratcheting and sliding, so that's also very practical. And then in terms of I/O, you get a 12-volt socket and you get one USB port, and that's it. Going back to the seats though, they are very cool. You still get the classic tartan pattern on them, and they still very much look like they are supposed to be in a Golf GTI. But the microfiber, it feels like Alcantara. It's a very nice touch. The seats though are super comfy, and you do get lumbar support, which is great to have. So apart from the manual adjustment on them, I have zero complaints about the seats. The steering wheel is awesome. Even though it has the consistency of a literal golf ball, it does feel great in the hands, really good to hold. The red stitching is a nice touch. You get a D-shaped steering wheel, or else would it really be a hot hatch? The GTI badge is right down the bottom. And then of course you get the dead ahead stitch, which, God, you couldn't live without that, could you? Could you? I mean, it's nice to have, but as far as a TCR exclusive, I feel like it could be better than that. What's greatest though about this steering wheel is just how functional it is. On the left-hand side, you have your cruise controls and you have your safety controls, as well as your volume up and down controls. And then on the right-hand side, you have your digital instrument cluster controls, and you have your media skip forward and back controls. I will say the worst thing about this steering wheel are the paddles, because they are just so cheap and nasty. But that's my only complaint about the steering wheel. Everything else is just awesome. And I want to quickly touch on safety. Yes, this car has pretty much every safety system under the sun. Big shout out though to the lane keep assist and also the adaptive cruise control. Both are awesome. It helps steer you into the lane. Not quite as good as the new systems, for example, coming out of Hyundai, but it's good enough. And the adaptive cruise control is all the way to 0. It'll be perfect in stop-start traffic. So yeah, I like it. The 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster is also fantastic, but with an asterisk. On the left, you have a giant tachometer. On the right, you have a giant speedometer. And then in the center, you can display pretty much whatever you want. My issue with it is that clearly not all Volkswagen systems are built the same. In my T-Roc review, you could change away the system looked and its layout, but in this one, it's stuck with the tachometer on the left, speedometer on the right. That's it. It's a minor complaint, but I wish it did have a bit more functionality. At least in the center, as I said, you can just see so much different information. For example, you can have your maps right in front of you. And honestly, it is still probably the best instrument cluster in the business, even though it is already aging. That's a big feat in itself. The 8-inch infotainment system is a good system overall, although that is also showing its age. It is mostly functional, coming with navigation, Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay. However, being a car that costs over 50,000 Australian dollars to not come with digital radio is bad. It is very, very bad. It is a huge feature that it is missing. Thankfully though, the screen is very responsive, graphics are sharp, and it works well overall. It's just missing that digital radio, and that sucks. Shout out though to the speaker system, because even though it's generic, it still sounds really good. Then we have the air conditioning controls. They're really easy to use. I've got zero complaints about them. Oh my God. This car is awesome. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Moving on to the rear seats now, and they are the same material as up front, so very comfortable to sit in. Being a practical Golf, being in the back is very practical. You have plenty of legroom, headroom, and tow room. You also get 2 air vents back there, so that's a nice thing to have, especially on a hot summer's day. And so yes, you can very comfortably take passengers in your Golf GTI. In terms of boot space, with rear seats up, you have 380 liters of boot space. Put the rear seats down and you have 1,270 liters of boot space. Again, it is a super usable, practical space. That is the benefit of buying a Golf. They're very practical. Of course, what you want to know is, how does the Golf GTI TCR drive? Oh my God. Oh my God. Really, really well. Powering the TCR is a Golf R derived 4-cylinder turbocharged 2-liter engine. And it pumps out 213 kilowatt of power and 350 Newton meters of torque, which is 30 Newton meters less than the new Golf R. Apparently that has something to do with the car being better at higher speeds. Okay. Now, of course, being a GTI, power is sent through to the front wheels. And again, exclusively for the TCR, you get a 6-speed dual clutch transmission and not the 7-speed dual clutch transmission you'd see in every other GTI, and also the European spec of the TCR. Apparently, it is better for around a racetrack, but the issue comes down to acceleration. The 0 to 100 or 0 to 62 miles an hour is around about, it's around about 6 seconds. It's quick. Now, yes, the GTI TCR is very quick, but Aussie automotive journalists, we're getting around 6 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, whereas European journalists seem to be getting around 5.6 seconds to 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. And that does have to do with the fact we get the 6-speed dual clutch and not the 7-speed. Again, it's just a bit odd.
Editing Matt here. It probably also has something to do with the fact that we get 30 Newton meters less torque than the European version. Weird.
So keep in mind that not all TCRs are built the same. But believe me when I say I couldn't care less, because this thing drives immaculately. It is so good. It certainly does stand up to its claim of being the most powerful Golf GTI ever built. You can feel it. It's terrifyingly quick in some instances. And I will say this 6-speed dual clutch is good for one thing especially, and that's really not having any sort of clunkiness at lower speeds. The 7-speed absolutely does. This 6-speed, nothing. Changing gears are seamless around town, and when you really floor it, put your foot on it, you really feel the gear changes. It feels really sporty. In terms of driving modes, you have 5. You have Eco, Comfort, Normal, Sport, and Individual. And within that individual mode, you can change so many different parameters, from the adaptive dampers to the steering feel, throttle response, exhaust note, also the amount of sound that the engine is pumping into the interior. But it is awesome. Changing between the driving modes, you can definitely tell that it does change the steering response and pretty much everything else. In terms of suspension, as standard on this GTI TCR, you do get adaptive dampers. As I said, the car is 5mm lower to the ground than its standard GTI counterpart. And even though that does help with cornering, it still feels so comfortable on the road. The Golf GTI remains one of the most comfortable hot hatches you can buy. Right now, I'm in sport mode and I am very comfortable. You put the car into comfort mode and it's like you're wafting along the roads. It's that good. Of course, we don't want that. We want to put the car into sport mode, and then we want to take a corner a bit hard, and it is so planted. Wow, 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 wow. In fact, one of the major reasons that the Golf GTI TCR handles so well is because it does have a limited slip differential, and that does send power to the front wheel with most grip, and so it just pulls you around a corner. There is zero body roll. I really mean zero body roll. And handling is just so sharp. It is so pointed and direct. Wherever you point it, it goes. And it does have progressive steering as well, meaning the more you turn this steering wheel, the more the wheels turn. Great feature. To summarize the driving experience, it is incredible. And even though we get weird things like we have the 6-speed dual clutch transmission and you've got the engine from a Golf R, It just works so well. It's hard to put my finger on it, but it just works so well. So I guess the question on your mind is it worth it? Well, the standard Golf GTI starts at 46,000 Australian dollars before drive-away pricing, and this TCR commands an almost $5,000 premium at just over 51,000 Australian dollars before on-road pricing. You do get a 5-year unlimited kilometer warranty included with that as well. And yes, I can absolutely recommend the Golf GTI TCR. Even though it is a lot more expensive than a standard Golf, you get some inclusions that are incredible. First of all, you get a faster car. You've got a much more powerful engine. Then you've got that 6-speed automatic transmission, a lowered ride height, and you've got some exclusive niceties around the car that make it aesthetically amazing. And believe me when I say this car, is fast. Hand on heart, the uniqueness and coolness and wowness of this Golf GTI TCR, in my opinion, makes it a better value proposition than a standard Golf GTI. It is absolutely 100% worth it. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, click over there and watch my Renault Megane RS review or my Hyundai i30N review, both of which are amazing hot hatches as well. I love them both. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'd love to see you around. I release an awesome new car review like this every single week. Please do like the video and let me know what you guys think of the Golf GTI TCR. Is it worth it? I'm curious to know. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next week.